What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode are we on? 15 of the Big Shred podcast. I am your host, John Matos. Thanks again for hanging out with us on another Saturday stream, Saturday, 7 p.m. So we're doing this Wednesdays and Saturdays if you're new. If you're new, thanks for hanging. Have a great guest today, my buddy Joel Haston, who is he's actually a man of many hats. So he is an artist manager. He also is the founder of Pinup Productions. They do a ton of great work with booking bands, providing staff for shows, talent buying, all kinds of great stuff. So we're going to get a lot of great insight from Joel today. Really looking forward to it. So this coming week, we've got some great shows lined up as well. On Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm super stoked to officially announce with you guys that I'm going to be bringing on one of my biggest influences, actually. So Michael Keane of The Faceless will be coming on the show this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you're quarantined and or if you're essential and you're getting home and you're looking for some fine entertainment from your boy and a sweet interview with Michael Keane, come and hang out with us next Saturday. So 1 week from today, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, I will have Johan Meyer on, who is front of house slash engineer for Gojira, one of my favorite fucking bands. So I'm way stoked to get to talk to Johan. And on that same episode, I will have my good buddy Cameron Losh from Born of Osiris. Fucking super killer drummer. So way stoked for everything we've got coming up as well. So like I mentioned on the episode earlier this week, Abiotic has some sweet masks available on our indie merch page. So I'm showing a photo of them right now. We've got a logo slash human beings are disgusting creatures reversible mask. So if you're trying to wear these to work or something, you can kind of business in the front and then human beings are disgusting creatures, little party in the back, so you can flip that thing around. So the show is getting a little bit bigger. We hit the necessary amount of followers on Twitch to get us towards that coveted affiliate status. I don't know a whole lot about Twitch, but if you're watching on Twitch, I'm figuring all this shit out, so I appreciate it. So check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/abioticjohn. I should be getting close to the mark where I can change that to the show's name as opposed to mine, so I'm working on that. And all these episodes go up on the podcast YouTube page, so the Big Shred Podcast on YouTube. You can just check us out on Instagram and on Twitter as well. And the show is also being pushed to the podcast audio streaming services. So we've got some episodes up on Spotify. Those are a little bit slower, but if you're on your way to work, if you're on your way home, hopefully you're not doing too much else right now, definitely check the pod out on there as well. So the show is sponsored by Ormsby Guitars. And would this be a podcast if the fucking video didn't do whatever it wanted? The show is sponsored by Ormsby Guitars, so if you're looking for that new shred machine, look no further than Australia's own Ormsby Guitars. They've got 6, 7, and 8-string models, multi-scale, standard scale, all kinds of cool shapes and finishes. So Ormsby really has a guitar for players of all genres. Ormsby's home to artists like myself. I play the Headless Goliath model right now. Rusty Cooley and Dino Cazares, along with a ton of other awesome players. I'm currently playing, like I mentioned, that Headless model, and I'm looking forward to the new runs that they've got coming out with the Goliath. Definitely check out the ormsbyguitars.com website so you can see all those upcoming models that they've got available for pre-order. They've got a ton of signature models for Rusty and Dino available as well. So Ormsby Guitars, created by musicians first, with ergonomics, tonality, and the modern player in mind. So housekeeping is done. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my good friend Joel Haston. Joel, what is happening, dude?
John, my man, what is up? By the
Not
way,
much. What's
before you
up?
get started,
Yeah.
you got my name right. Nobody ever gets that last name right, dude. Like, thank you. I appreciate you so
Absolutely.
much.
I will. So, caveat there, I'm just, full transparency kind of guy. I 100%, if I didn't look up videos of you, like introducing yourself, I 100% would have pronounced it wrong. So,
That's, hey, that's fine, man. You did your research. You got to when you do stuff like this. You know what I mean?
trying to do my due diligence here. Um, well,
Well, I
thanks for coming
appreciate it.
on. Yeah, absolutely. So right away, just want to say hi to some folks that are tuning in. So Jonathan, what's up? Lexi, what's going on? Gary Gray, what's good? Our good buddy Frank, he says I got to go back to work on the auction shit, so I can't watch, but kiss him on the mouth virtually for me. Well, there you go. That's just for Frank.
Yes.
Um, so what's going on, dude? How are you doing? How is quarantine treating you? What's good in the world of Mr. Haston?
Well, quarantine, up until this week hasn't been too bad. Right when all this crap started happening, I kind of had like a vision, you know,
Huh?
and I went and got a day job. Uh,
Okay.
well, it was a part-time job. There's a cute pet store across the street. Literally, like it takes me 4 minutes to walk there.
Awesome.
Like, we get all of our stuff for our puppy there. And I went in and like I was wearing an After the Burial shirt one day, and the manager was like, "Yo, dude, I love that band." Like we like hit it off. And then every time I went
Nice.
in there, we always found stuff to talk about. Then I found out he was like a gamer and like stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh, tight." And then, I had kind of debated getting a part-time job after Christmas because
Yeah.
as a normal adult does. I blew through way too much money at Christmas time. You know what I mean? And like winter's always slow for the industry anyways, so it's not
Yeah.
like I was missing out on much.
Right.
And so I got a job there, and then it was like literally like right as all this was starting to happen. And then so I was originally just going to do part-time, and then I was like this happened and I was like, well shit. Like all my shows shut down literally in a matter of like 2 days because of how fast California did everything. So I was like, well, you know what? I got nothing else going on and I got to pay rent. So I hit up the homie Rick, my boss, and he gave me the full-time hours for the first like 2 months this whole thing was going on. And then corporate decided to not renew the lease. So as of last Friday, I'm
Oh
cruising.
shit.
You
Oh
know what I
damn.
mean?
Oh, that's shot, dude.
That's fine. I mean, honestly, especially here in California, I mean, I know most states are like this, but I'm gonna make way more money on unemployment than I am working.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Um,
So
while you were talking about the pet store, all I could think about was if there was an item like as highly coveted in the pet store as like toilet paper. So like, was there a thing that like you guys were just running out of constantly? That's not like, I don't know, dog food or whatever.
Yeah, the poop bags to pick up your dog shit.
Okay.
That and then like the second anybody says stock up, like cat owners go like bonkers for litter.
Oh, that makes sense.
But litter has an expiration date. Like I feel like most people don't know that. You know what I mean? Like it loses its potency like any other thing with a smell or an absorption quality.
Right. Well, the
So
the Big Shed podcast insights right away. Cat owners, your litter expires, dude. Just like
yeah. Yeah.
check the expiration date on your shit and keep that shit up to date. Literally
Hmm.
that shit up to date.
Literally. Yeah, literally. But yeah, man, besides that, it's been good, dude. I live pretty close to the ocean here out in California, so I've been practicing social distancing, of course, been getting able to get my exercise in down at the beach, which has been great.
Nice.
Try to get a decent amount of cardio in every day. We're getting old. We can't just be partying all the time these days in the industry anymore, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so just been doing that. Taking some time to like we're gonna start reorganizing Pinup soon, and we're trying to brainstorm ways to make sure we bounce back intelligently and well from all of this current nonsense going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just getting more time with my lady and our dog, which has been great. I've been working full time, so It's kind of like a paid vacation, even though I'm sure some people will probably get pissed at me for saying that. I don't really care. Like the world doesn't stop turning, but we also can't control the way it turns. You know what I mean? Like, that's always kind of been my outlook on life. And
Yeah,
so it's like this is where we are right now, and we might as well just deal with it and enjoy it.
yeah, yeah. You gotta silver linings in your situation. I mean, you know, you sound like you're in a good spot. I'm definitely fortunate in you know where I'm. My job is considered essential, so I haven't really skipped a beat with work. But I do know folks with like small businesses, similar, you know, similar to Pinup and shit like that, that have been hit hard. So I definitely feel for those people. But also it's like for the folks, you know, in your situation that are potentially making more on unemployment than they were making, you know,
Yeah.
just working full time and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, fucking do you, fam? Like, if you can, if it works for you, great. And fucking go to the beach with your dog and your girlfriend and fucking, I don't know,
Yeah.
come find a new hobby and read books and like try and take advantage of the time while you can. And not that like if you don't take advantage of the time, like, I don't know that you're doing the wrong thing or whatever, but
Yeah.
um, just if you can, that's I think that's utilizing the time to the best of your ability is really what's going to keep it. It's what would keep me sane if I was in that situation where I
Yeah.
wasn't going to work because I'm still getting that interaction and all that shit. Like
Yeah.
that's why even so though it's what like spawned the idea of doing this podcast and all kinds
Hmm.
of shit like that.
Well, and like I'm in a unique position because like there are a lot of promoters and venues like suffering. You know, we all know
Yeah,
that. I don't need to like sit here and give you the pitch point. There is that whole, I think it's NEVA, the National Independent Venue Association. That thing is going on.
yeah,
Everybody watching should check that out if you haven't. It's a bunch of basically thousands of small clubs all over the nation have teamed up together. They're trying to get help from the government. They're trying to, you know, they understand that they can't open because of what's going on, but the government is like overlooking them and giving money to cruise ships and airlines and all these fucking rich assholes that don't need it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But and like you said with like the small business thing, like I'm pretty lucky. Like so, Pinup has never, you know, anymore. You know what I mean? So we were very business oriented at first, but that was also like when the metalcore boom was still going on,
Yeah,
and like I mean, you could have a show every day, and every day did, you know, a couple hundred people because this type of music, like being in the scene was in it, and it wasn't all clicky like it is now. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
like after we kind of switched gears and the scene started to like die off a little bit and some of that stuff, we restructured the company, and like so honestly everybody that works for us, like nobody gets paid. Like if we have a great year, everybody gets a Christmas bonus, like everybody gets paid for working the show and helping and stuff, but like
Yeah,
nobody's on salary, nobody gets paid every month. We're all volunteers. You know, there's
yeah,
between the couple different departments of Pinup, you know, there's like over 20 of us, and we all volunteer our time to benefit, you know, our
wow,
scenes in our respective regions, you know. And it's like, you know, sometimes I make a little bit of money off of the extra, but I have it all. I've also been doing it for 15 years. So like I have
yeah,
to, I can't, you know, Pinup can't succeed if I'm full time working a day job. So I had to find a balance, which I feel like I've found. But there's months where sometimes it's like I'd rather make sure everybody that works for me gets paid for working a show, you know, even if it's like, yo, here's like $50 for your hard work and dinner. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like I'm still, you know, that to me that's more important because all the pieces of the puzzle, like the way we run, like everyone is just as important as everyone else. So like everyone sees my name and is used to me, and I'm like the co-founder, and like I hate the term like figurehead, like we're the British government or some shit.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, you know, and it's great. And like the only reason we've been as successful as we have is because I have all these people that we all care about the same thing, and that's regardless of the style of music, we're all doing it because we want to see our local scene succeed.
yeah. And that's awesome. And just want to say I appreciate everything that you guys have done for Abiotic in our career. I mean, you guys have booked us, you know, more times than I can count probably.
Yeah, I don't
So
remember either.
yeah, but I'm always stoked when I see that Pinup is doing one of our shows out west.
Yeah.
They've always been a good time. You guys always take care of us. So
Thank
if
you.
you're absolutely, so if you're booking a show post Rona and shows are a thing again, make sure if you're out west in California doing it through Pinup Productions, there isn't anybody else better to do that shit with. So
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, of course, man. So, oh man, we've got some movement in the Twitch world here.
Yeah. We got. Oh, is that? I'm gonna steal your thunder right now, dude. Is that? Oh, look, it's Garrett Gucci, and it's Admiral Bum Cancer. I know who he is in real life, despite his disgusting name.
Yeah,
Um,
Admiral Bum Cancer. I gotta take a second to to take that in. Admiral Bum Cancer.
it's more of like a trolling username for a video game system, but that's there's some friends in there. I don't recognize all these people on the Twitch, but I recognize some of them.
There you go. Well, tight. Well, if you're hanging out with us on Twitch, I appreciate you, and keep the comments coming. And Joel and I will. Let's see. He says, "I love you more than them slightly." Oh well, appreciate the love, everybody.
Yeah.
Tight. So speaking of Twitch and streaming and shit like that, so you've got some streams you've been doing since the quarantine. We had our good friend Dan DeFonce on the podcast. He was in the
Yes.
first few episodes, and he's been getting really into the streaming. And I actually was watching your kind of announcement, which is what spawned me pronouncing your name correctly, on the the listening parties you guys are having with bands, which
Yeah.
I think is fucking super cool. So what's that like? How's that been going, and how can people like submit their music so you guys can check it out?
Okay, well, so the listening party thing, I'll start with that. I am doing a few other, facets with my time. Dan is really, he's a booking agent. He has nothing to book because there's no tours happening, so he's been really reeling in and focusing on Twitch. Our other good friend, Sean Mott, um, has started a podcast called Metalcore Nerds, and it's all dudes from metalcore bands talking about nerdy stuff. Sometimes they talk about nerdy stuff. Sometimes they talk about metalcore. Sometimes it's a mix of the two. I was actually a guest on his show. I was on episode 3. You should check it
Nice.
out.
Yeah.
We talk about Star Wars for like an hour and 20 minutes. It was sick.
Tight.
Uh, and then the three of us are best friends. As far as like people who work in the industry go, you know what I mean? Like it's hard. Yeah, I mean, John, you went around long enough. Anybody that's been around long enough. Oh, Bot Squad is here in the Twitch chat. Sorry to swerve. That's right, Jesus. Uh, yeah, you know, you've been around long enough to know it's like between the mix of like how much money controls everything and the way there's politics and the way some people have egos and some people are so humble to the point it's like easy to forget about them. It's all the shit in the industry is hard, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
Dan and I have been very good friends for a long time. We always have a joke like when we team up on people or like other promoters or like whatever, or like if we're in chats or we're trolling the same person online, which we try not to do anymore. Because I do it when it's funny, but I don't like being mean to people.
Yeah.
But the whole joke's been like, oh, Joel Fonts is here, like no
Joel.
point no point in convincing them they're wrong, you know what I mean? And then
You guys are like
uh,
Brangelina or one of those like power
yes,
couples.
no, literally 100%. Like my girlfriend always says, if she goes early for some reason, she knows I'll be in good hands with Dan. You know what I mean? Which makes me uncomfortable to think about, but it's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
So, um, what's up, Trendkill? I don't know who you are. I just see you in the Twitch thing hollering at me.
Oh, it's good. Yeah,
Uh,
he says you had me at Star Wars. So
yeah,
yeah, we can get into I don't know what you think of, and I don't know, we talk a little
yeah.
bit of Star Wars.
Yeah. But so anyways, Sean is a younger booking agent. He's only been doing it about like 4 years now. He started working with Dan. Long story short, he found his way to Dan. He books a few of my bands, and then he now he got hired at Continental with Dan.
Oh,
So
nice.
we had this whole idea where we were like, what's something we can do to give back to the music community? We can hang out with each other. Branding is still kind of important right now because nobody knows what's going to actually go on
Right.
after the Rona happens. And we were like, Dan's trying to grow his Twitch. I'm YouTubing, which we'll get to that in a second, and Sean's doing his podcast.
Yep.
So we were like, let's just do this thing and just be silly. And like, anybody that pays a little bit of attention to like my Twitter and Dan's Facebook and knows Sean at all, like everybody knows that the three of us are like really close friends. So that's why
Yeah.
we just started calling it, you know, the 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 Joel Font's X listening party. You know what I mean? So we're gonna do it the first and third Wednesday of every month. You can watch it on my YouTube channel. You can watch it on Dan's Twitch, and we go live on Facebook until they shut us down because we're always listening to bands live.
Oh right,
So
fucking
as soon as
Zuckerberg just
yeah,
ruining lives as usual.
yeah, a Zuck the fuck as I like to call him. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So like we got about like over an hour through our stream last time before Sean's Facebook feed was cut from his Metalcore Nerds page. But we're trying to find a workaround around that. But
Yeah.
definitely, like, his Facebook page, which again is Metalcore Nerds, just my personals are posting about it. Or my YouTube page, which is called Joel Cupcake Unedited, and then Dan's Twitch. So we've been doing that. That's been great. I've dabbled in like the Twitch gaming a little bit. Like that's fun. It's more of a like it's just an outlet. I'm
Yeah.
not focusing on that super hard. I'm focusing right now primarily on my YouTube page. I've been, as you mentioned, you've known me for a couple of years. We've booked your shows for fucking way too long. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I've been a promoter for, this would technically be my 16th year. You know what I mean? Like it's in
Holy
October,
shit,
it'll be
man.
16 years. Yeah. So like a lot of people know me from when I started, or know me as like Joel the promoter, or Joel the artist manager, or they just know me as like, oh, that's just my ludicrous, really loud, drinks way too much friend Joel. And like, somewhere underneath is somewhere in the middle is me. You know what I mean? So like my podcast has to do, or I shouldn't call it a podcast. I'm sorry, it's a vlog.
you
If we're
it,
gonna be
you want
literal,
it to be a podcast, dude. It's like
I
it's
know,
it's
I
in
know.
there.
I So my vlog, it's only found on YouTube. You can't find it on anything else. Um, that's why I called it Joel Cookpick Unedited. It seems like a strange name, but it's like there's no sponsors. I don't make a single dime off the show. I don't go through. I do everything in one take. I don't edit anything. Like I just fucking go. It
Nice.
started as just me doing 15-minute episodes, um, just like short, keep people's attention. I have a few that are like funny. I have a few that are informative. I have one where I just am yelling about Tiger King for 15, 20 minutes, like, so it's been really cool. And like I told you, like when we touched base earlier in the week, like I just kind of started doing that as like, I hate the sound of my own voice and I hate watching myself. And like, I mean, I think that's pretty natural for human beings to at least hate the sound of their voice. Some are a lot more comfortable seeing themselves all the time than I am. So it's good practice with that. Like I want to do more speaking. I've been appearing at a few like panels,
Nice.
like, and like, conferences and whatnot. I want to do that more. So like, I wanted to establish my skill set of speaking and all that shit a little bit clearer. So I've been having a great time. I've shared some advice for bands. I've shared some, you know, some stories. I've talked about a few things people have requested, and then recently I started doing, having my friends come on from other facets of life. And
Yeah.
so it's, my first episode was Adrian, from After the Burial, who I know
Oh,
is,
nice.
yeah,
Adrian's a
um,
fucking sweetheart. I love that guy.
exactly. I was gonna say another mutual friend of ours, and like I sat down and like, I gave him zero heads up. I was like, we're doing this. He's like, what are we talking about? I was like, we'll fucking figure it out as we go. And he thought I was joking, and I was being 100% serious because I was like, I don't want to have a plan and a bunch of notes and stuff like this because
Yep.
that's not being me. That's not me being natural
Yeah.
or unedited as my branding would go. And
Right.
like he comes on, and I'm like, yo, Adrian's here, blah 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 blah. He makes some jokes, and I'm like, this is Adrian from After the Burial. But you know what? Fuck those guys. Like I don't want to talk about them. And then of course, Anthony, Dan, I love you if you end up watching this. You know what I mean? And it's just him, like how he got into playing music and stuff like that. And then everybody like loved it. So I've done it with a few other people since then. And I just put up a new episode yesterday. I do episodes every Tuesday and Friday of that.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So I just had Kaylee from like the pop band Rivals was on. I've had Andrew from Fallujah,
Dope.
and a few other guests. I have some really fun stuff coming up. I'm starting some other like facets of it, like I don't want to give my funny ideas away, but you'll see. It's fun. I have some the people that know me as like the, oh, you're just like this funny over the top person. I'm trying to lean a little bit more into that. I keep being told like I have like a voice for this, and like
Yeah, dude.
could be a personality if I wanted. I mean, whatever. I don't I try not to let all that shit go to my head, but you can check that out. It's YouTube. Just look up Joel Cupcake Unedited. The channel is literally youtube.com/c/Joel Cupcake Unedited, all one word. I also have a little Facebook page for it. You can follow me on all social media. Actually, if you Google at Joel Cupcake, I think I'm the first like three things that pop up,
There you go.
which is strange. So
Tight.
it should be pretty easy for you to find me.
I'm looking forward to seeing some art with like your face in cupcake icing or something. Like there's you gotta do something awesome of like you in a cupcake.
I actually have like a cartoon image that only really is on my Twitch that I'm gonna start actually starting on Monday.
Yeah.
Now that I've been done with my job, I'm gonna start promoting like my digital mediums a little bit more. So yeah, and then the only other thing I was gonna bring up is like you mentioned Twitch,
Yeah.
so I am doing my YouTube series, which is I'm expanding. I'm gonna do like just super over the top like special reports. Actually, I'll name drop the first one right now.
There you go.
So sometime I think probably on Tuesday I'm gonna do Joel Kubrick unedited a special report. I'm literally I'm letting this probably career suicide, but I don't care. I'm letting Colin Regan, who is the in-house promoter of Foo Bar in St. Louis, I'm literally letting him work. We have compiled numerous tweets over the last 5 years of people trashing the city of St. Louis, and
Okay.
I'm gonna let him defend his city and say whatever the fuck he wants
Oh,
on my
dude,
show.
I'm totally gonna
Uh,
be on that episode because him and I just got into it like very recently.
yes, actually, that is actually what inspired me to have you on
Really?
this.
Well,
Yes,
great.
so thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Totally. Yeah, no problem at my
Yeah,
expense.
and I know it's gonna be like just. I mean, obviously, I told him keep it respectable and shit,
Right,
but it's
right,
just
right.
gonna be. I'm gonna start doing a like random one-off episode like that, where it's like over the top. I have like a birthday episode coming up, and it's literally gonna be 30 minutes of just me and Defonce, and like, but I have to take a shot every 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
and then
I'm
it's just gonna
into
be
this.
him because I'm turning 34 on Friday.
Oh, sick, dude. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you. So like, it's gonna be like think of it as like a miniature like roast of me. Like I'm just gonna
Awesome.
tell Dan like I told Dan, don't tell me what you're gonna ask me. I don't want to know what you're gonna bring up. Like I'm gonna start the episode taking a shot and just take another shot every 5 minutes until we're done, and then Lord help me. You know what I mean? So
That please like I'm gonna follow all of your stuff so I can keep up with that because I need to fucking see you. Like, I hope that there's like I don't know that somebody's watching you so you don't fucking give
no, I'll be
yourself
fine.
alcohol
I'll be
poisoning.
nah. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
But that sounds like it's gonna be fun, dude. And really quick, shout out to Colin for you know what, like as much as him and I went at it with the whole St. Louis thing, it's respectable for him defending his city, and I get it.
Yeah,
Um, I hope that he understands or can try and put himself into a band's in a band's shoes.
yeah,
I it took me a while to develop that kind of thinking into my personality. Like, okay, I think a certain way, somebody else thinks a certain way. Why do they think the way that they think?
exactly. Yeah,
What, if I were them, would I think the way that they think? And the answer is generally 99% of the time yes. If I
yeah.
were Colin from St. Louis, a promoter, I would feel how Colin
Yeah.
feels. I get it.
Well, it's like two things. Like first off, he is a promoter, and like not to do the pity me card, but like we don't have an outlet right now.
Right.
Like there are no like unless you're like a full blown like making 200K plus a year, you can get the PPP loan from the government. But like for smaller promoters like me, like I don't own a venue.
Right.
Like I'm just a name. I'm just a fucking dude with a bunch of other dudes and chicks that we all volunteer and do this together. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I lost a bunch of fucking money that we still have bills.
For sure.
like as you know, we pay for domain names, we pay for the LLC license, all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, there's no outlet for promoters to get any help. So of course I'm gonna like call and come on and fucking speak his mind. You know, also like
Yeah.
as you were just saying with the whole like other people's point of view, like, you know, I have been doing it for 15 years, and there's no way you can do it that long without having people hate you.
Yeah.
And so I've always been like, and everybody that works for me knows this rule. It's like if there's an issue, it's always like, okay, well, why do you feel that way?
Yep.
And it's like, well, how can I make Pinup better? Like I would not, the company would not still be around if I was the same person I was even 12 years ago.
Totally.
You know, I listen to the people that come to my shows, the local scene. Like I have to find the middle ground between the venue, what the venues want and need to stay open, what the bands need to come, and what the people coming want to experience and deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's a big reason why I wanted to have you on the show as well, to have that, quote unquote promoter perspective, which we haven't had. I've had artists, I've had Dan on the booking agent side, and I think I, for whatever Colin thinks, I fucking really appreciate like what you guys do. I know it's not an easy job. Like
yeah,
I've booked a local show before, and that in itself back home in Miami is a fucking handful.
yeah,
So, that's not on the level that you guys do it. But obviously, I know, I like to think I know what your role is and what we do
yeah.
and how important it is. So, if to not talk around it for anybody watching and listening who doesn't know what we're talking about. Um, we won't get too far into it. We'll stop it here. I just
I was
want to
gonna say
inform
I'll let
people.
you. I was gonna say I'll let you go with this.
No.
I'm gonna sit back and enjoy my Truly
Yeah,
while you
yeah.
explain this.
So, first off, on Twitch, fuck Tanner, and to continue. So, St. Louis, Fubar in particular, if you probably about 4 or 5 years ago, if you were, I don't know, following Metal Sucks or one of those fucking lamb goat websites, you probably saw multiple headlines with bands getting robbed at this venue. So I can probably name off the top of my head right now about five, and that's just five that I know off the top of my head. So Abiotic at that point was touring full time. We had a ton of shit going on, and we were, if I'm not mistaken, I honestly barely remember, but we were trying to figure out routing back home from a tour, and after several of our friends had been robbed at that venue, Abiotic could not afford to get robbed at a venue. Like if we at that point had gotten robbed at a venue, the band would have broken up. We could not handle
Yeah,
it on a morale standpoint, and we were fucking broke. So I had to kind of, as the guy who works a lot of the logistics of the band, put my foot down and say, hey, right now St. Louis is hot. We are not gonna play there. Like
yeah,
Fubar's hot, and I don't feel comfortable like risking that much to go and play St. Louis. I love the people of St. Louis. We've played there before. We've played Fubar before,
yeah,
and I always have a good time there. I've love walking around the city, and it's awesome. But at that point, I was just like, hey, we can't do it. I apparently wasn't made aware that the show was already booked, and I told our agent, I was like, hey, we're not, we would like to not play there. And I didn't know the show was already booked, but I guess he had to go back and cancel the show with Colin.
yeah,
So and I just found that out from that post that I made. So I made a post.
yeah,
I made a post joking about it because Missouri, St. Louis said that they were going to be opening for shows. This was like maybe a few weeks ago now, that they were going to be opening for shows, and I just said, I was like, great, now we can all catch Corona and get robbed at the same time.
yes,
So tongue in cheek, it was more a stab at St. Louis or Missouri opening too early, and not a stab at Colin or Fubar, which not specifically. I wasn't calling anybody out. It was
yeah, yeah.
me being saying a stupid joke, whatever. So
But
anyway, that's
to be fair, we all make that joke. You know what I
right.
mean? Like I'm friends with Colin, you know, and he'll be like, "Oh, I want to book this band." I'll be like, "Dude, Colin, they don't want to come there and get robbed." And it's just like I can see the angry face through my phone text. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, and it's I'm not going to speak for anybody. I've heard bands and other folks express the same thing. Now, did they do lots of things to combat it after it happened a few times? Yeah, they did. And I can appreciate that and all that good stuff. So, what I wasn't vibing with was like there were two arguments at the same time. It was like, no, when was the last time bands got robbed? Like, we fixed that. And then also, oh, yeah, well, how many bands got robbed? Name three. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, did it happen or did you guys fix it? Like, or did it
See,
not
see the
happen?
see the thing that I think is funny about all this is like, I mean, dude, I've done lots of shows in the Bay Area, like
Yeah,
proper over the years, like Oakland and San Francisco, and like I can't tell you how many times bands will be like, I don't want to play there because we're going to get robbed. It
right.
happens in like the main venue in Oakland, the Metro,
Yeah.
like they're straight up. I had a show where two bands got robbed in the same night. And I called
Wow.
the cops, and the cops are like, "Oh, we aren't going to come. We know who's behind it." And I'm like, "What?"
Oh, that's fucked.
There's literally this team of people. It's a dude. He skates by on a skateboard, and he scopes your shit out. And then someone rolls by in a pickup truck, and they have a fucking. Have you seen? It's been really popular in action movies lately, like where they use it's like a fucking like stake shooter, like it's like a stapler for like metal divots, like through your head.
Yeah.
They basically reverse the flow on that, and they suck the locks out of the van. That's how they do it.
Holy fuck.
And like the Oakland PD is like, oh yeah, we know which crew robbed you guys. There's no like you're not gonna get your stuff back. They don't even show up and take the police reports anymore.
Wow.
But yet you never like the joke is always about St. Louis.
Yeah, that's
You know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's fucking I think it's ridiculous. But yeah,
I think it was because it happened in succession and then it got a lot of like press for whatever reason. So,
well,
I get it.
it's because traders got their PS2 or 3 stolen. That was like when it all started, and when it you know
Right.
and like those guys might get really mad at hearing me say this. I really don't fucking care. I last time I booked them was a fucking nightmare. They played the Catalyst in Santa Cruz, which has been around for 30 something years. It's literally like a legendary venue.
Yeah.
They went inside, and when they played their set, they left their fucking van unlocked, and a bum climbed in the bunk and passed out to sleep.
Oh my god.
Santa Cruz has a huge homeless problem. You know
Right.
what I mean? And like they were like, we're never coming back here, blah 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 blah. But they're also a band that I know claimed got robbed in St. Louis. So
Right.
maybe if they hadn't left the van unlocked, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know.
Anyway, so I'm gonna
I
leave
don't know.
I'm gonna leave the rest up to you guys to
Yeah.
chat about. But if you wanna hear more about this shit, you can 100% totally check out Joel Cupcake Unedited,
Yes, on
and
YouTube.
you'll hear Colin's side of this. I'm sure for a very long
Yes.
time.
Yes. And then
Um,
the only other thing I wanted to bring up is that, I am you brought up Twitch.
yeah.
I'm starting something next month that I'm very very happy about. I don't have a name for it yet. I'm still working out all the kinks, but I'm going to be doing a live show on Twitch where like my whole attitude with this shit that's going on with Corona is like you don't know which politician to believe. You don't know who you can get answers from. I mean, shit, the CDC just rolled back their answers on a bunch of shit yesterday.
Yeah.
So like I'm starting a show where it's 5 people live for about an hour at a time, and it's like me and a co-host, and then the other three guests, like one will be a musician, one will be from, and then the two other guests will be from completely different industries.
Yeah.
So like I think my first show is going to be a musician, someone from the music industry, and then someone that works at IGN, which is the
Okay.
video game industry. And then
Sweet.
like the musician is also somebody who goes and does like public speaking about mental health to like high schools and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
like it's 3 people from 3 walks of life all having their businesses basically shut down.
Right.
So it's like I'm doing that as a way for people. Yes, it'll have stuff to do with music because that's the world I come from.
Yeah.
But it's more of a like I want the public and people to have this thing to come check out because like, hey, I can't give you the answer to how it's going to be when shit goes back to normal, but like here's how some other self-employed professional people are dealing with it, and like hopefully it can help you find some peace or whatever.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll keep an eye out for that as well. So sounds like you're gonna be busy.
I'll probably
So
have you on that actually, but
hey,
that's something.
I'm always game. So please and thanks actually. So I'm super down. So let's change gears a little bit. So how did you get started with pinup and booking, and do you remember your first show that you booked?
Okay. Uh, how I got started was I got into metalcore in high school, and the town I lived in, there was a couple different people that did shows. The guy that did predominantly like the metalcore, the more fringy stuff, he got his girlfriend pregnant and just up and moved to Sacramento one day. So the only person around was the guy that did like punk and like really specific hardcore bands. And then there was like the big venues in town. So there was nobody doing like metalcore and like all the subsects of it and like
Right.
let's say heavier music.
Right.
No, nobody was doing it. And so I met a guy through some mutual friends, who was like, yo, like, let's start doing this, like, blah, 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 blah. Like, all the local people. He was like a transplant, like, he moved from somewhere else to our area.
Yeah.
And he was like, I know some bands online because he was a graphic designer. So, like, he's like, I know a few bands, you know the people here, like, let's just make it happen. And we set that up. Our first show was a Halloween show. It was with Arsonist and All the Girls, The Taste of Blood, which is members of Animosity for people who don't know who that band is.
Nice.
They're basically like the best band that never made it. Look them up. Album's called Predator. It was on Tribunal Records, if
Oh
anybody even
shit.
remembers that name. Um, yeah, it was. So it was those were the two main bands, and then it was some locals. I don't, dude. I don't even stop a flyer. But yeah, so like we did it, and then Paul actually had to pull out of the company because he and his girlfriend were gonna have a kid as well. So I just kept running with it, man. Like I was like, this is tight. Like, and that was like, I mean, everybody remembers how it was in like the beginning, right before the peak of the MySpace days. Like
Yeah.
we're all united. It was just shows, moshing. Sometimes you partied, sometimes you were straight edge, but like
Yeah.
there was like, I mean, everybody had their beef, but
Right.
like you could put 400 people in the same room and most of it didn't matter. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So like it was, dude, I was just some kid. Like I was fresh out of high school. I was going to college part time. I was the assistant manager at like this local pizza place. Like I fucking fed the bands from the pizza place.
That's
You know what I
awesome.
mean? I still lived with my parents at the time, so I was working full time at an assistant manager position, so I just had money. So I was like, yeah, let's just book shows. Who cares what it costs? You know, the first 2 or 3 years, I fucking probably spent more than I made, but we were having a
Yeah.
blast, so I didn't care. You know, like when people were like, "Oh, what's our guest list limit?" I was like, "Oh, whatever you want," and they were like,
What?
"What? Huh?" You know, you tell a band that nowadays, and they're like, "You're kidding, right?"
Yeah. You can't
So
do that to us.
yeah, yeah. So like, I just kept with it, and then like eventually, I got connected through one of the bigger promoters in Sacramento, and she had started doing bigger shit. And her and I hit it off. We started doing like show trades. So like that was right when like Alicia and Catherine were blowing up. I don't know if you remember those two. Obviously, everybody remembers Alicia, but like
Yeah.
Catherine wasn't as well known. And so like and then like we had like Embrace the End kind of floated between both markets, and then like we had Arsonist and Animosity and a couple of those bands from the Bay.
Yep.
So we started doing this like show swap where like, hey, who's popping in Sac right now? I'll bring them here, and you bring my popping band from Santa Cruz there.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So we did that, and then she connected me with Amanda Fior,
Yeah.
who
Yeah. She's
she
Sumerian,
now works
right?
for Sumerian, yeah, but she used to be a booking agent back in the day with Ash,
No
from
shit.
Sumerian, and she sent me this show. I remember it was the first big show I ever booked. It was Winds of Plague, Catherine, At the Throne of Judgment, um, Beneath the Sky. I don't know if you remember that band.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, and oh shit, I have it on I just posted it on my page not that long ago. Let me look it up. I forget the other band on the package, but it was worth it, dude. It was like so sick. Oh, maybe it's on the pinup page. But yeah, anyways, so it was like one of those like, oh, Born of Osiris. It was like their
Whoa.
it was
Holy
like
shit.
one of their first like real tours, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that. Cameron, if you watch this, sorry if I'm lying.
I'll
Um,
check with him next week.
all right, tight. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, that's what it was, man. Like I did that show. Amanda was like, it's like this is like an $1,800 guarantee, which I mean that show did fucking 400 people. $1,800 was nothing.
Yep.
But I had never agreed to pay bands that amount of money before. And she was like, "Can I?" She's like, "I'm gonna send you a contract." And I was like, "What?" Like I was just like a dude doing shows at this like side room of. It was literally the 418 project was a yoga center on the
Wow.
back of an Indian restaurant. That's literally what it was. And they used it for like dance halls and yogas and like things, and then like very mellow things. And then here's me coming in, and people are getting their heads smashed on the dance room walls and stuff like that on
Oh
accident. You know
man.
what I mean? That's fine. It's whatever. Shit happens. But yeah, so that happened, and then after from that moment on, I was like, dude, I want. Not only can I do this, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, like some of the best people I've ever met in my life are in bands, and like I connected so hard with so many like bands that came through. You know what I mean? Like Johnny from When's the Plague is one of my top 10 people ever, period,
Yeah.
in life, and I never would have met him if I didn't book their band when they were called A Bleak December.
A bleak December.
Yes, that was their old
Man,
name.
I'm glad they changed it because that's
Yes, as am I.
it's a fucking way better name.
Yes. But yeah, like, like I've made a lot of really good friends through music, and like I was then, and like our scene was doing well. And I mean, like, how it is, like, especially in California, people are like, you radius clause, you have to play 120 miles apart. I
Yep.
mean, when this, so I live in the Southern Bay Area of San Francisco, so I did shows in Santa Cruz. There was a town 45 minutes south called Salinas, and there's a town 45 minutes north called San Jose.
Yeah.
I could literally book a show in all three markets. I would literally book a show in all three markets, and each show would do 300 people.
Holy shit.
And you're talking 45 minutes apart,
Yeah.
and use different locals, but each strong, and the community itself was so strong that, and each scene itself was so strong that like people would drive to all three shows, and each show had its own draw.
That's
And the
sick.
bands would just crush and merch, and people are like, you like. I remember I never worked with an agent before, really, and I did that with I think it was uh, the first Straight from the Path headliner. It was like Straight from the Path, Endwell, The Ghost Inside, and I don't remember the fourth band. And I did that with that tour, and then I did it with there was that it was Arsonist and All the Girls, My Children, My Bride, Further Fallen Dreams. It was the Changes album release tour,
Yeah.
and then was Stick to Your Guns the fourth band? Shit, I don't even remember who the fourth band was. But I did that, and I booked it in all three markets. And the agent was like, "You have to be able to pay for this." And I was like,
I
when those are
got
the
you.
three best. I was like, listen, it's going to be like them playing Chain Reaction 4 times, but it's in
Man,
three different
they
cities.
must
And
have
they were
fucking
like,
loved you, dude.
it was
45-minute drive for 3 shows. I'm like,
it
that's a
was sick.
dream.
Yeah, it was sick. And then like the San Jose show was the last one of the bunch, and we did like
Yeah.
600 fucking people
Wow.
or something, just like bonkers, man. Like,
Yep.
and it was just like, But anyways, that Winds of Plague, At the Throne of Judgment, Born of Osiris, Beneath the Sky tour, like that was when I knew I wanted to do it, and I like fucking loved it.
Kill
By
it,
the way, At
man.
the Throne of Judgment, anybody watching, probably like top three bands that never made it that should have. At the Throne of Judgment, look them up.
At the Throne of Judgment. I'm gonna have to check those out too. And at the end of this, I usually do a Big Shred podcast kind of playlist. So maybe that'll be your playlist. The big bands
Oh, there you go.
bands that never made it.
There you go.
um, Rad, dude. So you got your start. Kind of doing it with those bands, and then slowly picking up. So do you remember some of like your favorite shows? You got some favorite shows that you
Oh
booked?
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So one of the main for a while. So for a while, I just did Santa Cruz. I was under the Monkey or Arsenic Productions. Couldn't think of another name, and I grew up with all the Arsenics and all the girls guys.
Yeah.
I actually spent the first like 5 years of their career touring with them. I was like their roadie,
What what
roadie,
what years? You
like
remember?
literally like 2000, like the first like 4 years, like up until like 2008.
Okay. We played with them, like we opened a local tour with them. But I think it must have been like 2009. So maybe you weren't with them. But yeah, we.
Do you remember what tour package they were on?
I want to say it was See You Next Tuesday.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
was there.
you were there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
So
then you remember it's like a giant warehouse in Miami. I like for the life of me
Oh,
can't fucking remember the name of the
were
place
there,
right now.
was it run by some pseudo sketchy people?
No, it was like a young kid with like
Okay.
plugs. Young kid with plugs. Um, the dugout is what it was called.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Yep. So
I
we
actually, do I have that? I think I just found that tour pass like literally earlier today going through all my shit. Hold on.
let me see that because yeah, we were local openers for that like in our fucking super infancy, and that was fun getting to see you next Tuesday.
Well, maybe I don't have it here. It might be somewhere else. I thought I had it right. Thought I had it easily accessible.
Well, you'll have to show me it's at some point.
Yeah.
Do a little reminiscing on that
Damn.
shit.
But yes, I was definitely there.
Nice.
I have a awkward confession to make. I don't like Florida.
That's I moved away from Florida, so I'm
I like the people in it, but like
yeah.
I'm a large man that's lived by the ocean my whole life. And so when I encounter things like that, such as humidity and bugs and alligators, I get really upset.
That's
Oh,
totally
here,
100% understandable. Yeah, dude. Pull it
is
back
that
a. Oh,
is
it's a
that in
little.
focus? I
It's
can't tell.
not, but.
What's going on here? There we
Oh,
go.
there she. Oh, there it is. What was it called?
The No Care Ever
The
tour.
No Care Ever tour.
And
Awesome.
yes, we would have played. Where the hell is? Let's see, Jacksonville, Florida at the Pit, Winter Park at Island Oasis, Saratosa at Willer Hall, Fort Myers at the Garage, Tampa at the Orpheum.
That's when Florida was
Mm,
getting all the shows, dude.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Miami's not on there.
Maybe I think if I remember correctly, one
If
of these shows was shut down and we moved it to Miami.
that's probably what happened. It was probably like a last minute kind of thing.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, so like
Yeah.
yeah, I used to tour with those guys. So when I was just in operating Santa Cruz, it was Arsenic Productions, and then I met Andrew, who was the guy who started Pinup Productions. So, anyways,
Nice.
on to my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Pinup operated out of a place called San Jose Skate. Literally, it was an indoor roller skating rink. And where the snack bar
Nice.
was, we just cleared out all the food eating tables, and bands literally just played. Like, here's the bands, and then one side is the roller skating rink, the other side you could fucking go get nachos. Like,
Sick.
and like the space probably held like 200 people, and we would cram like 600-700 people in there because the whole building has a huge cap. It's just where the bands were actually playing didn't.
Right.
You know, we did As Blood Runs Black, Terror, and The Ghost Inside in there.
Oh man.
And I wasn't there because I was in New Mexico visiting my father with some health issues. And I get a text message from Andrew, who was at the time he was my business partner. We hadn't merged companies yet. And he goes, "Your roommate Brett just stage dove off the popcorn machine, and the owner threatened to shut down the show."
Oh shit.
And we filmed the show, and I have the footage somewhere in some old email. But like, just like the stuff I saw on MySpace and like social media from that show,
Yeah.
like I wasn't even at it, and that was one of my favorite ones. We booked Bayside on Valentine's Day one year.
Nice.
It was Bayside 4 years strong. The starting line or the straight light run, I don't remember which one. It was one of those bands, and we did 666 people paid on Valentine's
Oh,
Day,
sick.
and we always thought that was fucking hilarious. So um, there was that. Do you remember that Montreal Assault tour that happened? It was Despised
uh,
Icon, Carnifex, Neuraxis, the Plasma Rifle.
yeah, yeah. Holy
Yeah,
fuck.
So I did that. I did that tour. Growing up in Santa Cruz, like all the shows used to happen at the Vets Hall. It's just, I mean, it's still there, it's still standing. But
Yeah.
like you can go online and just look up Santa Cruz Vets Hall on YouTube, and like, I mean, like Poison the Wells played there. You know,
Nice.
my first hardcore show I ever saw was in that fucking room. So I was able to book that tour there, and we did like, I think it's a 450 cap, and we crammed 680 people in there.
Oh
And like when
shit.
Despise played, it was just fucking insane. And that was
Oh
when
man.
Carnifex was still like a full deathcore band.
Yeah.
Not the no digging. I love their new stuff, but
Yep.
they were like full blown deathcore, and it's just like for them and Despised, it was just like people just getting beat the fuck up. Like
Yeah.
that show was tight. The most, I mean, probably besides those three shows, my two favorite ones are let's see. Well, I was when Bleeding Through broke up.
Yep.
I they were only gonna do two NorCal shows. They were gonna do Sacramento and somewhere else. And I remember I was like fucking praying that I would get one of the shows. And I knew Brandon well enough. We had some mutual friends, and I had booked them once or twice. And like they used to come play Salinas back in the day, and they'd play the Santa Cruz Vets Hall.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the Vets Hall available. It was shut down at this point in time there for a remodel. And so I bid on the show, and Brandon was just like, "Yep, let's do it. I want to do it there in Santa Cruz." And
Nice.
like that was the first show I ever had. We sold 400 tickets in advance. I
Wow.
never had a show sell out in advance before, so it was
Oh
sick. It
shit.
was, and that tour was, it was them, Winds of Plague, and Scars of Tomorrow.
Fat lineup, dude. Shit.
Yeah, and then there's two old bands from our area. One's named Moria, which I think you're familiar with.
I think Travis has mentioned that like
Yeah,
name
yeah,
once.
they used to tour a whole bunch,
Yeah.
and the singer's my best friend. So I had them do a reunion show, and then there was an old straight edge metalcore band called Fate 13, also from our area, and so
Nice.
we had both of them play. So it was literally just like all old dudes. So it was so tight because it was just like a fucking reunion. But I like did that and just like watching Brandon talk about how much like the Bay Area and like the 831, which is our area code, like meant to him, and just like seeing like I mean, and Bleeding Through, like fanboy moment is my favorite metalcore band of all time.
Nice.
Like, and so like hearing him acknowledge me, and then they start playing the stuff off fucking, This Is Love and fucking the real old like the OG shit, and like just waves of people singing along with them. It was just like I was fucking. That's the only show I've ever cried at.
Oh, dude, that's so sick, and it's awesome to be able to be a part of those moments, right? Like,
Hmm.
it's one of those things where like the hard work and all that shit. It's like where you really feel that stuff pay off,
Yeah.
and it's awesome, and again, just like you guys are unsung heroes in what we do. So fucking, I appreciate. I'm sure there's a ton of sacrifice, tons of like, missing family shit
Oh
to
yeah.
make sure a show goes right. Actually, so what's what's like some of the weirdest shit you've had to like get for our dumbasses,
Um.
like writers? Like, what's some weird shit on writers?
Horse the band wanted specific Teletubbies. Or no, I'm sorry, not Teletubbies, Beanie Babies. They wanted specific Beanie Babies. They wanted pizza that was specifically slices. So they weren't like order us pizza like you need to go to your favorite pizza place in the area that serves only slices, and that's what we want.
What the
Like, and we
fuck?
all we all have. Well, I think so. Keep in mind, I go get this request for Horse the band, right?
Yeah.
And I come back and they're playing at the roller skating rink I mentioned to you.
Yep.
They are all dressed up like a different fast food item, rollerblading around or roller skating around. And I'm like, you guys are supposed to like be sound checking. And they're like, oh no, we don't care. This is way more fun. And I was like,
Wow.
I just went, here's your pizzas. I couldn't find the Beanie Babies you want. And they were like, oh, you were actually going to get us all that shit?
I couldn't
They
find
were
the
like,
Beanie Babies
they
you
were like,
wanted.
we've never worked with you before. So we just like send that writer out to see what we can get. And I was like, well, fuck me. Like,
That's fucked.
I'll be perfectly honest, like I don't do the writer thing a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm really old school. Like honestly, like Pinup doesn't get the caliber of shows we used to because like I don't even sign deposits and stuff. Like I let my worth ethic speak for itself. That's the way I was raised. The couple mentors I had in music when I started, they just instilled certain values in me, and like I don't trust if you don't trust me at my word, then I don't trust you back. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like if somebody requires a contract of me, I'm like, whatever. So when a band's like, here's our writer, I'm just like, I'm just gonna give you your full catering budget in money.
Right.
because you can do whatever you want. And if you need a runner to go pick up things, I'll provide you a runner and charge you, the $25 for it. You
Right.
know what I mean? I'd rather do that than like spend my whole day bending over backwards. You know what I mean? The only time
Totally.
I shouldn't say I've never done it. I've done it a few times, but it's like when I have like vegan bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because especially 10 years ago, really hard to facilitate.
Yep.
Nowadays, you can go to fucking anywhere and get meat-free soy products. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But like back then, it was hard, dude. Like
Yeah.
you had to drive all over the goddamn place. So like I would always do the riders for vegan bands because I understand. You
Yeah.
know, but
Nice.
nothing really stands out as like just being like over the top. You know, like
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like you
other
were no
other than
bullshit.
like
So.
other than the occasional like where can I get an 8 ball or like something stupid like that. You know what I mean? And it was always like that band that shows up late to load in. First thing out of their mouth is they complain, "Oh, it doesn't look like you have a great sound system." And then I'm like, "Well, do you need anything?" And then they ask me for that, and I'm like, "All right, never booking your fucking band again."
Right.
Like,
Right.
so
Well, don't get on Joel's shit list, guys. Fucking not booking your shit.
it's really
No,
hard
you
to get on
gotta.
my shit
Yeah.
list, to be perfectly honest. Like, because I toured. Like, that's the thing that I think is unique about working with me, whether on a management level or a promoter level, is like
Yeah.
I ran a very small record label for a couple of years. I tour managed working for a different like I worked for a couple different managers, one being Derek Brewer when he was at Outer Loop. Now he's with
Nice.
Shelter Music Group.
Yeah.
I worked under him. I worked under a few other people. I worked for some bands directly. I've managed bands. I've booked shows. I even attempted to be a booking agent for like 6 months,
Yeah.
and like I've sat at every corner of the table, so to speak.
That's awesome.
You
Yeah.
know what
I
I
didn't
mean?
know that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, so I get it. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
most of my bands that I manage, you can ask most of them, like, I try to always be like, I try to not be unreasonable. And I also try to be like, well, hey, listen, like, this is what the industry says you should do. This is what I think you should do. Like, how does that work with your vision for your band? Like, what can
Right.
let's take a part of, what my advice, let's take a part of the industry and then let's see what your booking agent thinks. And like, let's meet in the middle and fucking excel.
Yeah, that's killer, and that's rare. It's a reason why like Abiotic is on the label that we're on right now too with Artisan Era, because they're run by guys that have been doing the shit. So it's you
Yeah.
get that perspective and that transparency because you know that you've been on the other side of it, which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
it's there's can be a lot of cognitive dissonance between like people who are working at labels and agencies and all that shit and
Yeah.
like what it's actually like boots on the ground bands doing it every fucking day. So
Yep. You have to be the team, you know what I mean? And like
yep.
that includes the label, and like,
Yeah.
even if it's a small label who might not be too invested in you, like they should be willing to help with ideas. They should be, if they can't come to the front with a lot of money, like they should be willing to look into the PR thing or hopefully have an established YouTube channel if they don't do a lot on that front. You know what I mean? Like everybody has to give a little
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it to work.
Yep.
So,
Agreed. So we'll end it with this, and I know you said that you're basically fucking starting an entire show on this premise, but so what's your opinion on when shows will be coming back, and how you think that's going to affect the kind of the entire like dynamic of booking shows in general? Like I think talking with Defonce about it a little bit, obviously. So like guarantees are going to have to be recalculated in the beginning, or
yeah.
expectations are going to have to be tapered. Maybe only the big ass tours are going to be the first ones coming out, or it might be only the small tours that are first coming out because like there might be people not ready to go out
Yeah.
until they see the guinea pigs do it. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
so many different variables.
Well, first off, I'll tell you, you're a brave man for asking me this question because I live in California,
Yeah.
and as being someone that doesn't live in California, you should know that politically, the entire rest of the country fucking hates us. Um, Especially because we have Newsom, which I will not go any further into more political statements than that.
Word.
But we will probably be the last state to open. I
Yeah.
will honestly probably put money on that. We do shows all over the entire state. I had a call with my business partner in Fresno yesterday. Um, you know, that um, that county is all just all Republican. That's
Right.
what, like, a lot of religious people, a lot of, people who vote red, and so they're already opening um pretty soon. Like they got jumped from, I think they're doing like this weird, like, you're in phase 2 and you have to be in phase 6 to reopen your
Yeah.
city or county. Basically, like, we got bumped immediately to a 6 in Fresno.
Wow.
And the guy was like, well, so like, yeah, so like, we're, all of the venues, the capacity basically went like, we use like a 450 cap out there. It got cut basically to like 200 people.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, we can make it work. We have an outdoor space too. He's like brainstorming all this stuff. And I was like, dude, I don't even really want to have this conversation with you. He's like, what? I was like, man, who cares what we can or can't do or what the county does or doesn't say? Like, are people going to feel safe going to shows again?
Right.
Because like, regardless of how you do or don't feel about the government and corona and the virus itself and social distancing and masks and all that stuff, like, the world and the internet is a toxic place. So like, even if you feel comfortable going back to a show, the people that don't are going to be ridiculed by their scene, and the people that do are going to be ridiculed by the other side.
Right.
And people don't factor in society in business decisions anymore, and that's the problem. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
somehow people keep booking, fucking people keep trying to fuck with Front Porch Step, or like Johnny Craig, or dudes where like multiple women have been like, he raped me. But people are like, oh well, maybe I can spend this, or maybe I can get money out of it, or this or that.
Right.
And it's like at the end of the day, like, I mean, like, I am very careful with what I say. Like, I recently made the switch. Like, my Facebook is mostly business now.
Yeah.
My personal shit is on Instagram, because I try to say like two political things and people had a goddamn fucking shitstorm meltdown. You know what I mean? Like, and so I'm trying to avoid it. And so, as far as like, shows won't be back to normal for a very long time,
Yeah.
because if you have even half a brain, you can look up the way viruses and diseases work, and like, whatever happens in the next 4 months does not matter, because the virus is a substrain of the flu, which is beat by heat. So the second Christmas comes, whether it's coronavirus or something, everybody that was slightly affected in summer, it will probably have some sort of relapse or mutation in winter, and it'll just be fucking worse. And I hate to scare people and say that,
Yeah.
but it's true. So like,
Yeah.
some people have the business mentality of like, let's capitalize for the next like 3-4 months, and then bounce back on top. And it's like, you know what? Like, I can't have that mentality, because I actually give a shit about my local scene and the
Yeah.
people that come to my shows. They're not just dollar signs walking in the door. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? So like, I hope it goes back to normal by the end of the year. I truly do. I saw an article yesterday. I didn't vet it to see if it was true, but like, some of the vaccines that are being proposed are showing very, very effective. So hopefully that happens soon. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We'll see. It's hard to tell, especially after that whole nonsense with Trump trying to buy the vaccine from Germany and saying only Americans can use it. Like, who knows what's going to happen if it happens in a timely manner? Who knows how it's going to,
Yeah.
like, and like, the fact that all the states are up to themselves to make their own rules. Like, we're not solving, it's not being solved as a nation, or even as like a society of like just human beings, all one race,
Yep.
because this is worldwide. And in my opinion, that's how we should be affecting it. So why are we allowing concerts to happen when like Italy and Korea and all those places aren't? Korea tried to reopen and shut down after what? Not even 2 weeks,
Yeah. I saw
you
that.
know? Like, so, and everyone's like, oh, well, we have better healthcare, we have better this, we have better that. No, we really don't. Unless you're a
Yeah.
rich person, you don't have good healthcare in our country.
100% agreed. Like, and that whole argument of like, yeah, but people are coming here to get surgeries and procedures. Like, the people with fucking money are coming here to
Yeah,
get surgeries and
yeah,
procedures. Everybody else is fucked unless
yeah,
I could go off on fucking healthcare,
yeah.
but anyway.
Yeah, I want to look at Canada. Like, you don't, we see no news reports of them having freakouts and protests and people marching on the Capitol buildings in their states or regions with guns and shit. You don't see that,
That's
because
crazy.
they shut their borders and they're trying to handle it and have everybody be safe,
Yep.
and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, that's I mean, I'm sure that's not it. So anybody from Canada watching or that might see this, I'm sorry if I made it seem like your plight is minimal. I apologize. But, to get back to your question, I think stuff's going to start opening up slowly. I think the real issue is the venues that do or don't make it. I think a lot of people are choosing to ignore that point. Bands are going to have to get paid less, which is going to not work. A lot of them are, unfortunately, whether it's them or their teams, with the time off and the loss of money. I mean, so many bands canceled tours and
Yeah.
lost 40 plus $1,000
Yep.
in rentals and rigs and stuff. You know what I mean? Um, Luckily, Bandwagon is always going to have my business because every band that I've talked to that was on tour when Corona hit, Bandwagon did not charge the bands basically the amount of time. Like if you were say you're touring it in Vegas and you had to bring your Bandwagon back to Alabama, the drive, like the days you had to drive from the last show you played
Yeah.
to the destination, they didn't charge anybody for.
That's amazing. That's fucking awesome.
And more companies I wish would have done that,
Yeah.
but so we'll get back to normal. It'll take some time. I think there needs to be an adjusted norm for a while.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to start doing some like, maybe like a once a month or twice a month, like a live stream, some band sets.
Nice.
It depends again on the shelters in place, and then if they do stay around, if bands are like, oh fuck them, it's all right, we'll break that rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I think some of those articles are right. The concert industry won't be back to normal till next year. And whether that's because of fear, whether it's because of venues closing, whether it's because of, I mean, shit, I will not name any names, but like I've talked to multiple people who are like, I don't even know if I'm going to stay in the music industry.
Right.
You know, um,
That sucks,
and
man.
it's not more than one person; it's multiple. And like,
Yeah.
there's some of the best people I know to work with, but some of them are pretty selfless, and
Right.
that's why. Because like, I didn't have a fucking backup plan. I got lucky with my fucking pet store job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I think bands are going to have to take a pay scale. I think on the flip side, I think this could work positively for bands as well because everybody has to win to make this work, right?
Yep.
So, we've all seen the Twitter threads and the Lambgoat posts about like merch cuts and shit like that. Okay, you want to cut of my merch? Why don't I get a cut of your beer sales?
Right.
Okay, well maybe it's something where we can negotiate going forwards. Like, hey, I'm not going to pay the venue rent and I'm not going to pay the band a set amount of money, but 70% of everything that's made, band gets 70% of ticket sales and 25% of the liquor sales because at the end of the day they are bringing those people in,
Right.
and that's their money, and then we find a way to compromise like that. I know a lot of bands, and especially the people that like sell merch for bands because they pay better attention to this stuff, would be ecstatic to know that they're getting even 5% of the bar sales in a night. I mean, the
Yeah.
last time we booked Abiotic, we had what, 400 people at that rock bar place
Yep.
on a Sunday, and like I know for a fact the bar made like fucking,
A killing.
I think $4,700 that night.
Yeah.
So even if I had given you 10% of that, you would have gotten paid another $470
Yep.
on top of the great show you played, the guarantee I already paid you, and the merch you sold.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
it needs
Getting
to be on
creative and maybe readjusting just like the whole like how the formatting
the whole
that's
culture.
yeah
Yeah.
that's a great point. I hadn't heard anybody say that yet.
Well, like when I used to tour, I always joked around like, why isn't there like a union of people, of crew dudes who tour? Why isn't there a union? Like, why isn't there a union for venues until
Yeah.
now?
Yep.
Like, and like it'd be way easier if somebody was like, okay, Live Nation, you want to operate here? Like, this is the deal.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, and it's like, I've learned something this year where like, I know you don't tour as much anymore, John. So like, a lot of the deals Pinup does now is like, we don't do, oh, here's your guarantee, and then you get 85% in this and that or whatever. I don't fucking do that because that's, I know when these bands will sell well,
Yeah.
and I still feel like they're entitled to like their piece of the pie.
Right.
So what I do is like sellout bonuses or ticket sale bonuses. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, so say your guarantee is $800. Okay, well if the show does 200 people, I'll toss you another grand. Then
Yeah.
if the show sells out, I'll give you another grand on top of that. I'm doing like structured deals like that because, as I told you, like, yes, we're an LLC, but we're all volunteers. I don't
Right.
have some huge bankroll that I can just go ding ding ding. I need to pay these bands their 10 grand. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yep.
So like I've been doing structures like that, and people have for the most part been open to it. So I'm hoping that the agents continue to be open to new shit going forwards. Unfortunately, most of the people I've talked to are just, it's like COVID didn't happen. They're still asking the same price.
Right.
And you know what? It's going to lose me some business. I told my partners, I told most of my venues, like, this is probably, it's going to be a rough time coming up because
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this dance. I'm not going to play these games. And some of the venues have come back to me and been like, oh, well, we got our PPP buyouts, or we have insurance money that we've been able to filter over to help with reopening. And
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, cool. If you want to give me a cut of that, or we want to co-promote and you buy the show and I promote it, because Pinup does that too. Like we literally do everything.
Yeah.
Like I middle buy, I direct buy, I rent. I mean, shit, we do weddings and stuff like that too. We do it all.
Oh,
That's
no
not the point
shit.
though. Yeah, I'm actually an ordained minister. I don't think you know that about me.
No, no. Damn,
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
all
yes.
kinds of little nuggets
But
here.
but yeah, so like I think seriously though, like the industry is going to have to change. Bands are going to have to change. Gas is. I mean, I don't know if you've seen those pictures. There's just like 60 plus tankers sitting off the coast of LA right now
No, I haven't
because
seen that. Holy shit.
of like quarantine stuff. They can't land.
Yeah.
They have to stay on their ship for 2 weeks before they can drop their oil off.
Wow.
There's like so much oil. Like, I mean, you can go. Do you know where Vallejo is? It's like that shithole town in between Sacramento and the Bay.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
Yep.
like three it's like three exits and then
Yeah.
like a big shopping mall. I shouldn't have
Mhm.
said it was shithole town, but like it's hot. You don't stop there for any reason.
Yeah.
Gas is the fucking dollar there right now.
What the fuck? In
A
California, that's
dollar.
insane.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But like here where I am, I mean, it's like I think I got gas this morning. It was like 260 something, which is still really
Still
cheap for
unheard of. Yeah,
California.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like hopefully that stays, and then when the bands go, well, I still need the same amount of money. As a promoter, I'm gonna turn around and be like, well, why?
It's
If
not
gas is
costing you as
half,
much,
if
right?
gas is half of what it cost you before COVID, then you should be okay getting paid 25% less.
Right, right. That's a good
You know
point
what I
too.
mean? And we're prepping to do more things with like, I'm gonna have pay bands less, but try to get them cuts of the bar, and then do stuff where like we live stream our shows. You know, like Chain. Well, most people don't know this. Chain Reaction has always live streamed their shows. They've been doing
Yeah,
that
for a
since
long
they
time.
could.
Yep.
Yeah, and so a lot of people freak out or think the bands are going to get mad or whatever. But like I think that's going to be the new norm because I want people, and I had a call with my leadership yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, like the rest of my team, where like I want to figure out how we can do this because the people that feel safe coming back to shows can come, and the people that don't can fucking watch from home.
Yeah, I think that's the
and and,
move.
and everyone's going to have to adapt. Agents, bands, promoters, concert goers, especially, like,
Yeah,
they're the people that I think are the most like, oh, it's just gonna go back to normal. No, I don't want to go to a show in a fucking mask. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck
yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah, yeah. No, I can definitely agree with some of your points there, and I'm interested to see it. Yeah, I'm not touring as much anymore. I will still be doing like 50% ish of like all the tours we do. So my goal is to be like at least on half of all the runs we do. Got the management gig going on, but
yeah,
but
I don't know if Travis told you that I refuse to book you guys unless you're there. I don't know if he told you that.
he didn't, but I appreciate it. I
All
guess
right, all right, all right.
I'll figure out a way to get to a show that if I'm
I,
not on it that to book that you book.
yep.
And we had a show booked in the Bay Area that got postponed. I'm not going to give too many details away on it because I can't. But if it happens when it's supposed to happen, then you'll be seeing me then for sure.
Is it the other show we talked about?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
That's still the plan to have you guys come out for that. So
awesome. Well, I will fucking 100% be there. I wouldn't miss it. So if you're in the Bay Area and when shows are a thing again, you hopefully will be seeing us very soon. So awesome, dude. So last thing I want to do here is like we talked about before is get your quote unquote artist playlist or interviewee playlist. And give me some bands from your area that should have been big and maybe didn't get there.
okay, that should have been big. That didn't get their first band, like for sure. Taste of Blood,
Yep.
like a technical metalcore band, best way to describe it. Moria, I already brought them up. They're like they came out of that time frame when like there was no term for deathcore yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they have a little bit of shredding. They're like super heavy. I call it mosh metal. That's what I always called them growing up, like
Yeah.
when I was young. Check them out. There's a couple of bands right now that are new that I wish were bigger on like the worldwide spectrum.
Yeah.
One is a hardcore band called No Right. I think you should check them out. There was a band I grew up seeing consistently called Abhorrence. They were like a thrash punk hardcore band, really hard to explain. They were great. Oh man, holy shit, you're making me go down memory lane. There's a band called Five Characters in Search of an Exit. They were like the
Okay.
staple San Jose like metalcore band for a very long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, Heavy Lolo is making a comeback. Those dudes did fucking great shit for our the Bay Area scene.
Yeah.
Uh, Arsonist, I think, is officially done now. Um,
Yeah. I saw
but
some like inklings, like they were like posting
yeah, I
stuff,
don't.
like kind of, but
Who know? Who knows? Who
yeah.
knows? Obviously check out especially their first like two records with like the original members when Pat was still alive.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've never listened to those, you should. Um, oh man, I'm like, another new band. There's a band called Here at the End. They just put out a brand new record. It's like straight up like Cradle of Filth meets Despised Icon. It's just like
Oh
brutal and
shit.
heavy, and then like all of a sudden there's like symphonic black metal keyboards. It's
Sick.
fucking sick. Yeah, check them out. I don't have a lot of other stuff to do.
That's a
That's I
lot.
mean,
That's
I
plenty.
mean, yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of the same shit over and over. Like I listen to a lot of old metalcore. So, um, yeah, I don't got too much more for you. I'm sorry.
Tight. No, no worries. Plenty of bands for me to look into for sure, and hopefully anybody watching, listening to check out as well. So, Joel, thanks so much for fucking hanging out, dude. I really appreciate it. I learned a whole lot about you, which was awesome, and it was great to get some insight again from the promoter perspective on everything that's going on, and just again, like I said, can't thank you and the Bay Area enough for making that area in a lot of ways like a second home for us. So I can't wait
Of
to be
course,
back, and like I said, I will see you at the very first show that we are back, and we will have a fucking truly together. And dude, yeah, thank you again so much.
dude. Of course. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for watching. You can find me everywhere as
Yeah,
Agile Cupcake.
find fucking Agile Cupcake, follow him on Twitch and Twitter and Facebook and all that fucking stuff, and check out all the sick, awesome show ideas that I'm gonna have to just like we're gonna have a powwow so I can pick your brain on
Yes,
stuff to do
yes, we should do
for
that.
the podcast as well, and hopefully you'll see me on some of Joel's shows as well. So keep an eye out for
Yes.
that.
And
And
also,
awesome, yeah,
before I go, follow my channel on YouTube.
yep,
It's Joel Cupcake Unedited, like we said. More importantly, click the links either here or here and follow John everywhere. And
word.
make sure you subscribe to the Big Shred podcast because I fucking told you to. Of
Oh, what a fucking guy. All right, Joel, thank you so much, man. And thank you
course.
everybody for watching. Again, we'll be back 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday with Michael Keane of The Faceless. Thanks again for joining us on a Saturday, and I will talk to you all soon. Peace. Later, Joel.
Later, man.